I'm a little different from the other candidates you've seen. I'm not trying to make your blood boil. I'm not trying to divide you. And I'll tell you frankly, when you see a politician who's trying to make your blood boil, and is trying to divide people from one another, they're probably running a little scam, whether they know it or not. They're fooling you. And they're directing your attention away from the problems that they're supposed to be solving. And we really have a lot of problems that we need to solve here. And my father drove a taxi. My mother was a teacher. And you know, back in those days, it was a union job, and it was a good job. And they both had good jobs. He owned his taxi. His medallion appreciated in value. I'm from New York. You might hear a little in my voice. They were middle-class people, and they had 2 incomes. And that meant that they were really middle class. Union jobs used to be 24% of jobs, now they're down at 8%. Some people might try to convince you to applaud that. But that's the evidence that we're losing our middle class. And it's a crisis. That's why people often don't have a living wage. So instead of yelling about, I hate teachers, and I hate Muslims, and I hate Democrats, or I hate Republicans, I'm the candidate who's actually going to earn the Senate seat by solving the problems of California and the U.S., where perhaps the most important thing, I'm going to tell you the truth. You know, as a computer software guy, you know, when you yell at a computer, it doesn't get intimidating. It doesn't respond to lies, and it doesn't lie to you. It always gives the same answer to the same question. So that might make me very different from most of the people who've been shouting at you and telling you what a warrior they are. I'm too busy solving America's and California's problems to flap my arms about what a warrior I am. I hope you respect that, because we need about 500 of those in Congress, and there are only a few, and I'd like there to be one more. There are areas where we agree, and that's a way to get people who've been drummed up into hatred and opposition and opposing other middle-class people, bailing out banks that mishandled their money and ripped off millions of homeowners. I think we agree that that's a bad idea. Government butting in and overruling your doctor, the way that poor Terry Shiloh was abused, and dozens of senators and congressmen thought it would be a good idea to interfere with her husband's management of her death after his 15 years of trying to help her. Most people think that's a bad idea. They understand life is important, but people's personal decisions about life shouldn't be suddenly handed over to the government. That's their decision. Those end-of-life decisions. I like statistics and numbers as an engineer. 82% of people thought that was a horrendous, horrible thing, that the government stepped in and abused that man while his wife was dying, when everyone except Bill Frist, who tried to diagnose her over a video camera, knew that she was brain-dead. These politicians are trying to make your blood boil, and they're doing immoral things. And I won't shout it, I'll just say it. I don't think we want Big Brother. I think when you say you're conservative, that doesn't mean you want the government looking over your shoulder while it's trying to tell you what to do. What real constitutional rights mean, you know, if somebody's tried to read the Constitution and they skip the First Amendment and only read 2, they can't call themselves a patriot. There's rights, and they're not all about guns. It's about if someone's accused of something, they get a trial even if they're a Muslim. They're trying to dumb down the debate, and it's insulting, frankly, to Republicans. There are 10 amendments, and Republicans are smart enough to read all of them. Let's really be constitutionalists, and let's be respectful of one another. Let's be respectful of the Constitution, and not dumb it down to 1/10 its size. I went to a great public school in New York, and I wound up getting a doctorate at MIT. And it was a day when it was a time that we need again when the government is investing so that they can be competitive. It was after the Sputnik era, right? And everybody said you've got to have good schools and train people to compete in the world marketplace. That's even truer today. The kinds of problems that we need to solve are having 21st century jobs, having the kinds of jobs that won't evaporate when someone in China makes another factory. That means being able to do energy, 21st century and infrastructure. So that, you know, the biggest rail system, the biggest jobs in my community in Sonoma County are the fast rail system. We have they're trying to convince you that America's broken, that we shouldn't spend any money and we shouldn't help the poor. That's a lie. They're fooling a lot of people with a lot of lies. That doesn't make the Democrats right, but we aren't broke. We've given $7 trillion secretly to the banks. And that money should have gone to jobs, to help people survive. And see, here's the problem. When you take all the money out of the system, as it happened in the Depression, as happened in Japan too, when you take all the money out of the system, then nobody buys anything. And then suddenly, you know, they try to convince Republicans, don't worry, it's just the poor, they don't need help. But just like the contagion that they were talking about, if you say, oh no, poor people shouldn't get the vaccination, then suddenly everybody's sick. If you say poor people shouldn't have jobs or shouldn't get help, then suddenly everybody who makes a consumer product is firing people. So use your heads. Vote for someone who's actually not going to make your blood boil and tell you what a warrior you are and make you feel good about hate. Vote for someone who's going to solve America's problems. There's the Contract for the American Dream that I'm happy to talk with you about after this. And it's got 10 great points of how to create jobs, how to get more of the money out of Wall Street that they're keeping for themselves. And I'm happy to talk to you all about it. It's been great to talk to you. I really appreciate your respectful presence while I'm here.